Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and I'm here today to share a trunk show of quilts from the brand new Summer Memories book by Susan Aki. I was so excited when Fat Quarter Shop reached out and asked if I would love to have the quilts here to film a trunk show, because how wonderful is that? A trunk show delivered to your door. Susan is just an incredible quilter, and I was super excited to get to look at her quilts up close, and I really want to give you an up close look at the quilt so it can be just like you're here having a private trunk show as well. Also want to mention that Fat Quarter Shop and Susan are currently doing a sew along. I am actually going to be taking part in that, and I'm just getting started with some of my blocks right now. I'm actually using, the first one I'm doing is going to be totally scrappy. So really excited about that, but really excited to give you a look at these beautiful quilts. Let's get started. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm hoping to show you in this trunk show just like some of the things that I look at when I look at other people's quilts. And Susan is just a great person to study, just because I love the way she loves low volume and I love low volume. So I always just love looking at what she does. This quilt is actually the cover quilt, and it's called Crossroads. And it's not super big. It's 51 3/4 by 64.5. I love the way it's put together. I love the low volume prints in the star blocks, and also, but I also love how she unified it with just one low volume fabric in the setting triangles, and then another low volume print in the 9 patches and sashing. I also really wanted to point out how she used the same fabric for her binding that she used for her border. I love that. This one also has a fun scrappy border backing with just bigger squares with the fabrics. Such a fun idea. And this one would really make a great scrap project too. She unified it by making all of the stars blue, but if you look closely, they're all different fabrics. So this would make a great project for a scrap quilt, because you could choose a color. Even if you didn't want to make it patriotic, it could be a great Christmas quilt with red stars and green sashing, and these could all be from different fabric. Just really a lot of ideas. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next quilt. Okay, the next quilt, this is Veranda, and it's actually a big quilt. I have it folded in half because it's a 2-color quilt and it's the same pattern throughout, but it measures at 72.5 by 72.5. And this really is just a solid blue and a solid white. And it's just a really fun chain quilt. I just absolutely love this. And Susan has some terrific strip piecing methods in here for this, which makes it very easy to put together. So again, this is Veranda, and it's 72.5 by 72.5. And I just want to show you the backing too. Really love this, just really low volume. This might be a Zen Chic print that just really soft. Really fun idea for the backing. And she did also use the same blue that she used for all the blocks. She used that for her binding. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. So this quilt is called Lazy Afternoon. I love that name. It is 68.5 by 84.5, and it features friendship stars with squares of low volume fabrics. And I love this because, again, I love low volume prints, and I love thinking of different ways to use them. And so basically it's just a low volume square quilt, and the sashing creates the friendship stars. Susan always has a fun way of putting things together, and just absolutely gorgeous. So she made friendship stars in blues and in pinks, and you can see in the book how she laid them all out to create this gorgeous look. This is another quilt where there's no border, but she also used another low volume binding, and it just really gives a soft finish to the quilt. I feel like I tend to use darker colors for most of my bindings, but occasionally I use light prints, and I'm really loving this in all of her quilts that I'm looking at today. Okay, the next quilt is a really, really fun Flag Day quilt, and I love that the stripes, the red stripes and the white stripes, which are actually low volume fabrics in cream, are all made using a template, and it's the Flag Day tumbler template, and you can get this from Fat Quarter Shop. We'll link it, and it's a big chunky tumbler that you use. So, and it's also sized for charm packs, so really, really great way to just go through and cut your 5-inch squares and then use your tumbler template to do these rows. And then the star blocks are super, super cute, and it's really unique how she's put the stars together to make the stars appear just like in the US flag. So I love, love, love this fun quilt. And I also we've been talking about bindings a little bit. I want to show you. Look how she used 2 different bindings. So where she has the red, she has a red binding, and she stopped the binding exactly at the blue fabric. And so where the stars are, the quilt is bound in blue. And everywhere else, the quilt is bound with red. So I thought that was a really, really fun idea that she did with this quilt. And I don't think I gave you the size. Let me give you the size. And this one is 52.5 by 80. So yeah, really, really fun Flag Day quilt. Okay, this is another bigger quilt. It's 70.5 by 90.5, and it's the Fireworks quilt. And lots of flags, and I love how they're just turned in all different directions and put together with these stars in the center. And then I love, love, love how there's this secondary pattern created when the stars meet and the sashing. I mean, this is just really, really clever how Susan put this together. And it's a really great way if you love red, white, and blue quilts. To put this together, she has strip piecing for the strip pieced flag units, and it's just really fun. She did add a border to this one, and I love the blue polka dots. And again, she again bound it in the same fabric as her outer border. And if you look up close at the quilting, it looks like there are little stars and little, it really does look like fireworks was the theme of the quilting design. So really, really gorgeous quilt. We have one more to share. So this is the final quilt, and this one actually might be my favorite. I do love baskets. This is the Summer Picnic quilt. It's 70 inches by 70 inches. And there are different kinds of basket blocks. If you, at first looking, you might think, oh, they're all the same. But when you look more closely, there are different styles of basket blocks. And they're all made from half square triangles. And I love the little gingham sashing posts. And then using the stripe for the sashing strips was just so fun. All of the blocks are unified in that they have a single low volume fabric for that entire block. So I really like how she did that. I love scrappy quilts, but I also love to have some way to unify them and tie them together. And I love how she did that with each group of 4 blocks using just one background print. This one also has a gorgeous light floral border. And again, she used that beautiful border print for her binding. So this is actually the first quilt that I'm going to be making, and I have a lot of half square triangles left over from other projects. And so since these are on the smaller side, most of them, I'm going to actually attempt to use a lot of my half square triangle stash to make my baskets. The only thing is that since some of them are already made, I'm going to have to see how I can unify my blocks. Maybe for sure just the sashing would be the same, and maybe I can find enough to where I can do a set of 4 blocks that all have the same background fabric. It's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a really fun project. But again, just absolutely love Susan's quilts. Okay, so that's it for the Summer Memories Trunk Show. I hope you enjoyed, as I did, getting an up-close look at these beautiful quilts. We do have a link to the book in the description, so if you want to sew along, and also if you are a stitcher, there's also all of the stitchery projects included in the book too. So just a really great must-have quilting book, and really hope you loved seeing these quilts and Susan's beautiful workmanship. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with a friend, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for stopping by.